Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the center. I haven't seen you before. Is it your first time? Yeah. Okay. Welcome to the club. It appears that this year a lot of crises around the world took place and it's continued and affecting everybody. And the whole world kind of in fire at the moment. And this fire based on sometimes, more majority are based on like a religion or the land or a color. And so different identities, majority are on that basis. Now, the more I look at these news, and the more I read these news, doesn't matter which news, it's news, and even in America, about this crisis, and Palestine, and in Gaza, and in Thailand, and again in Ukraine, and Pakistan, and like that. The more I read that, the more I felt like the whole world is so dangerous. And you never know what's going to happen. If we are living heedlessly and not living a life with much more mindfully, then it can be stressful, and it can be very troublesome as well. And wherever you look at it, as all these conflicts is going on. So then it makes me feel like how much, I am very fortunate to have the access to the practice of meditation, and then become mindful of my thoughts and mindful of my emotions and my feelings. So having that mindful awareness, I feel like this whole world, which again in connection with the Buddha's teachings, that the world is unsecure, and one who do not see the world in this way will think that this is enjoyable. But when we see it as like always crisis going on, doesn't matter which life we come back, in which world we can return back to reborn, we will be facing the same thing. That's why it's called a samsara. So returning back to the samsara again and again, we are going back to the same circle of this birth and death and experience of these crises, whether we like it or not. So actually, looking at these crises made me think that it is urgency, that we have to practice more to get rid of these desires, get rid of these emotions and the feelings, so that we don't have to return back to the samsara, coming back to the samsara to face with this birth, aging, and death, and there's other crises that we are facing, we have to face once we are born in this world. So it make me feel like more connected to the teachings, more connected to the practice, and as with that, from like not energetic to the practice, become more energetic and more conscious about how much we got to be mindful of our thoughts and emotions and feelings whenever these things happens. And inevitably, that these things will happen, we like it or not, because the majority are still driven by this greed, hatred. So possibly, more like based on the greed, wanting to have a fame, name, money, or a financial stability, like that. And with that, that mindset normally leads to these differentiation and conflicts. So we have to be mindful that am I, or are we in that position, and how can I be free from that? The moment when we able to free from that, it really gives us peace and calmness within us. And having a peace and a calmness within us, we could see these things as something that's dangerous, something that's troublesome, And then if we are coming back to the same thing again and again, we will have to face it again and again. So the practice is the key to overcome and these things, and so we don't have to come back. So I offer this as a reflection for tonight, to practice meditation. So with this, let's practice meditation. Okay, now this is time for the practice of a meditation. So sitting in a comfortable position, relax yourself, leave all your responsibilities. So this time we dedicate ourselves just to observe ourselves and relax, learn about ourselves. So nothing to worry, nowhere to go. We have decided to spend this time for ourselves. As you are sitting comfortably, observing your sitting body, checking any tensions around on your body, and relax. Sometimes you may have to squeeze some part of the body that's really intense and then releasing them. Simply to experience the relaxation of these muscles in any parts of your body. And once you feel that you are fully relaxed, you may gently close your eyes and observing your sitting body. How is your sitting posture? How are you feeling? So gently going through your body parts, relaxing them, connecting your mind with your body. Normally, we're lost into our thoughts and we forgot this presenceness of this body. And as we connect with this body sitting here and now, we can feel the sensations. We can notice what's happening in our body. And we realize that there are some movements taking place, or there are some sensations in particular places. Some sensations are constant, other sensations are not constant. So we pay attention to the constant sensations to begin with. And observing a little bit deeper What is the reason that these constant sensations are taking place? The more we look at it closely, we realize that this is due to the breath coming in and going out. So we use this breath-related object as the anchor or as the base to start our practice, to gain the focus attention. So locating that particular space in our body. So here we normally look at it at the abdomen, rising, falling due to the breath coming in and going out. That creates the sensations that we can observe naturally, normally. Very obviously, if you find that your mind is still very restless and wandering all around and can't feel this breath in your belly, then you may put your hand, one hand, right hand, but mostly on your belly to feel this rise and a fall, or you can regulate the breath to feel it. And this is just for a few moments, not for a long time. Just to feel the connection with it. Once we have located, then observing objectively when it rises, rising, when it falls, falling. And this rising and a falling, we're observing the sensation of the rising and falling. The abdomen itself may not rise, may not fall, but the sensation of it, due to the breath coming in and going out. So this is the first practice, to let this mind have an object to work with, as we know that the mind will not be there without an object. So we are giving this object to pay attention to. When it rises, rising, when it falls, falling. So try to be mindful of it as long as possible, as closely as possible. In this stage, I try not to control the breath, try not to regulate the breath to see it. And in the meantime, you do not have to keep your hand on it anymore. Just observe the natural process of this rising and falling, and the sensation of it, how it rises and how it falls. And even to train our mind, rather than just being aware of this rising and falling, mentally making a note of it, so that our mind firmly establishes each moment when it takes place. So this is how we can overcome our stress and restless mind, and disturbed mind. So we are intentionally diverting our attention from a restless mind to this, a particular object. And if you find that your mind is settled, become more aware of this process and established, extending it a little bit into recognizing any other distractions, the sound that you hear, the mind that thinks, the other itchiness or discomforts in your body arises at that time. Simply observe, acknowledge, note those distractions and let go. Do not hang on with it and come back to the object arising and falling. So we have two objects to work with. One is the primary object, that is the rising and falling of abdomen. Then the second is the distractions. So distractions, we simply pay attention to it, recognizing them, let go, and back to the primary object again and again. So developing confidence in it. And try to be mindful each time when it rises, each time when it falls. So continue practicing until you hear the gong.